So, as the trailer shows you a little bit right there, Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a man named Tom, and Zooey Deschanel plays his love interest, Summer. And in a non-linear narrative structure, Tom chronicles the story of his relationship with Summer over the course of 500 days. And you have that trailer there playing that incredible song, The Sweet Disposition by the Temper Trap, which I always thought that was Maroon 5, but no, it's another band. But I wish I could play the rest of the trailer for you, but, you know, copyright issues, and watch. This thing will still get copyrighted. You watch, But anyway, 500 Days of Summer. This is one of the best movies I saw in 2009. I think this is number 10 on my best of the year list, if I'm not mistaken. But I love this movie. It's a great movie featuring two actors I really like. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Every time he's in a movie, I'm there opening day. I just got to see what he does next, because he has really become one of those great actors that really, whenever he gets involved in something, it's like, I'm right there, man. Because, like, he's always going to give it 110%. You know, Don John, he's great in Inception, Looper, Hit Record on TV. I was watching that when that was on TV. And you can never go wrong with Zooey Deschanel either. Like, a movie like this shows you that The Happening was just a fluke, and this is a really good comedic actress who has a lot of charm, a lot of charisma, and a lot of good chemistry with her leading man in the movie. And in this case, it's Gordon-Levitt. And yeah, she's absolutely fantastic in here. The comedy is top-notch. There are a lot of good, hard, laugh-out-loud moments in this movie. Even some of the deleted stuff is very funny, too. Like, I always love the, you know, when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is so in love that he's going into the song and dance number with all these different things going on in the background, and there's a deleted scene where the same sequence happens, and when he's down in the dumps, people start beating the shit out of him, and the same people that were Gideon dancing and him in the music montage beforehand. I think there was also some Star Wars characters in there too, and they doing that before. They were happy in the beginning, and then in the second sequence, they're beating the shit out of him. Like, stuff like that is really funny, and there's a lot of that in this movie. Mark Webb directed this movie. Of course, he would later go on to direct the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which I don't like those movies, but really, it's not his fault. Those were basically Sony trying to do something that was different from trying to recreate the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and kind of failed miserably at it. Even though there was a lot of elements in there that were good, but eventually they screwed the pooch on that one. But the script overall is really good. This is written by Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber. You know, these are the guys that did the script for just recently the Pink Panther 2. Not recently here, but back in 2009, but they also did The Fault in Our Stars, The Disaster Artist, Rosaline. I mean, these are really good writers in here. They did the Daisy Jones and the Six for Hulu, I think it was, but yeah, this is a really, really good movie that just works on so many levels. Everything works, from the casting, to the writing, to the direction. It's pitch perfect, man. I mean, what more can I say? 500 Days of Summer is a really damn good movie, and one worth checking out. One of the year's best films, no question about it.
Clint Lockwood's inventions were always hair on Balder, a little odd. Why can't you be more like my son Cal? Sup? But on September 18th, conversion of water into food. Get ready to get served. It really works!
Can you make it rain food again, please?
Mamma mia. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
No, school!
In 3D and IMAX 3D, rated PG.
So, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is based off of a children's book, which really is not really based off the book. I mean, the book is not really all that big overall, and doesn't really have all the stuff that's in this movie. But you have the story where you have a young inventor named Flint Lockwood, voiced by Bill Hader, who invents a machine that turns water into food. And after having it accidentally fly into the sky, the town of Swallow Falls, which is a sardine-filled town, starts to have food falling from the sky, and the mayor of the town, voiced brilliantly well by Bruce Campbell, asks Flint to make more food and make it bigger, leading the town into chaos and creating essentially a disaster movie with food for a kids' film. And you have an all-star cast that also includes Anna Faris, James Caan and Lauren Graham, Andy Samberg, Neil Patrick Harris, Mr. T, and Bobby J. Thompson. I gotta say, man, they did a great job with the casting in this movie. I mean, I couldn't believe how good a lot of the casting was in this movie. Everybody plays their parts very well. The one person that comes out of this movie, and you really think to yourself, wow, I did not think I would ever get a really good, strong performance, unlike what we used to see from this guy. And that is, of all people, Mr. T. You see Mr. T in a movie, you expect him to be like, I pity the fool. You're supposed to expect him to be B.A. Baracus. That's a horrible impression of Mr. T right there. But I'm trying to speed this along here. But you expect him to be like B.A. Baracus from the A-Team. You expect him to be the guy from Rocky 3. And it definitely sounds like him, but the performance is much more restrained. And it does make a whole lot of sense for the story in general and him to be in there. Like, it's a more restrained performance overall, and it really does work very well. Like I said, the performances overall here are great. One that kind of gets overlooked is James Caan, who plays the father of Flint, and I like his performance in here because he has a hard time trying to connect with his son. They speak on different wavelengths. Like, he's an old man, he's a young guy, and any family out there can have that, where your dad is clearly stuck in a different generation and you're in a newer generation. I mean, my dad and I do that sometimes, but it's really fun to see him in this movie. It's, again, a more restrained James Caan performance in here that he really does give it his all. It kind of gets overlooked because everybody else in the movie is just so well casted in here. Bill Hader and Anna Faris just work off each other so well in this movie. But really, this was an awakening for Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who before this had been known for their work on television, stuff like How I Met Your Mother, Scrubs, and of course their magnum opus at the time, Clone High, which went on to have a cult following after lasting only a season on MTV. But this was the movie that essentially woke everybody up and made them realize that, hey, these guys actually are really funny. We should let them do more stuff. And thus, the Jump Street movies came out, the Lego movie, the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movies, Into the Spider-Verse, whichever ones you want to go with. They're both great movies, but they became the it filmmakers of their time, the it comedy filmmakers, because every time they made a movie, they just knocked it out of the park. And yeah, these are great talent, and they're putting it all into this movie that really they don't really need to do it, but man, it just works so well. And it also put Sony Pictures Animation on the map too, because Open Season and Surf's Up had come out. Yeah, Surf's Up got an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, but this was their first massive hit, and proving that they could make it as their own animation studio. And slowly but surely, they started making more and more movies, and most of them were pretty good, with a couple of exceptions: the Smurfs movies, the Emoji Movie, but then they made Arthur Christmas, which was great, and then of course they made the Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse movies. But yeah, you get the idea. But you get the idea that Sony Pictures Animation, this was the movie that really turned them around and made them a force to be reckoned with, to be up there with some of the best animated studios out there. I mean, just not much more I can really say about this movie, because it's just such a funny movie. I laugh every time I see it. I watch it so many times. I've watched it on several occasions over one day. Like, it's that kind of a movie where I just can't help but watch it and just fall in love with it every single time. It's hilarious. It's well done. The animation is great. The comedy is top-notch. This is a great movie. What more do I gotta say? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a terrific film.
You are strong. You are powerful. You can do anything. I don't need you to take care of me anymore. It's not your job. It never was. Are you still cleaning houses?
Actually, I own my own crime scene cleanup service. We come into people's lives when they have experienced something profound and sad, and we help.
Oh, God, it smells badly. Slow down. Here. Slow down. Oh, my God, Rose. Come on. Do it on your own, idiot. It'll wash out.
Easily one of the more underrated movies released in 2009. You have a story that follows Amy Adams and Emily Blunt, who are two sisters who start a crime scene cleanup business, and the various events that occur in their respective lives. Amy Adams plays Rose, who is a responsible house cleaner raising her 7-year-old son Oscar, and she's also having an affair with a married cop, her high school sweetheart. And Nora, played by Emily Blunt, can't hold a job. Their dad, Joe, played by Alan Arkin, is quirky, and when Oscar is expelled for his odd behavior, Rose wants to earn enough to send her to private school. And Max suggests she clean up after crime scenes, suicides, and deaths that go undiscovered for a while. Rose enlists Nora, and Sunshine Cleaners is born. Nora bonds with the dead. Rose finds out that it's a regulated business, and complications arise. And it really does work mostly because of the great performances by Blunt and Adams. I mean, you can buy them as sisters. You can buy them helping out these people who have just gone through these horrible situations that they're cleaning up. They're not just there to clean up the mess, but they're also trying to give these people an uplifting look on life in general. And it just works really well. There's a great cast. It also includes Steve Zahn, Eric Christian Olsen, Kristen Collins Jr., Marilyn Reichkup. And this is a really, really solid film. It's directed by Christine Jeffs, who has not made a movie but in a long time since this, but she did have a movie that was at Tribeca last year, A Mistake, which features Elizabeth Banks, which supposedly got a lot of good reviews, and I'm actually kind of surprised it has yet to get a distribution release, because I'm really kind of curious to check it out. I really like what this woman did with this film. This is a really good movie, man. This is one of the more underrated films that came out in 2009, and it might very well be the best thing that Overture Films put out as a studio in their brief time on this planet. It's one I highly recommend checking out. Sunshine Cleaning. If you can't find it on DVD, find it online. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or find it on Netflix. Find it anywhere, man. It's a film that I highly recommend checking out. It's one of the best movies of the year, and one I highly recommend checking out. Sunshine Cleaning.
I type with purpose.
Last year, I spent 322 days on the road.
You're awfully isolated the way you live.
Isolated, I'm surrounded.
I'm Alex.
I'm Ryan.
What kind of relationship do you have?
Casual.
Sounds pretty special.
What are you doing this weekend?
You want me to be your date to your sister's wedding?
It's not like I know her that well. Up in the air, rated R. Life's better with company. Everybody needs a co-pilot. That was a nice touch. Thanks. Select theaters Friday, December 4th. Everywhere, Christmas Day.
Another reason why Jason Reitman is one of our great directors, man. A guy who can take these different types of movies. He can do something like Juno, and then Thank You for Smoking. But then he goes back to doing something. Then he goes to do something like this, and it really does show that he has a lot of range as a director. The story here centers around a traveling corporate downsizer played by George Clooney as he comes across all these different characters played by Vera Farmiga, Anna Kendrick, Jason Bateman, and Danny McBride, and he falls in love with Vera Farmiga in the process. And we get it. George Clooney's one of our great actors, and he's great in the movie too. He really is definitely as good as advertised. I mean, he really is the focus of the film, but a lot of good things come out of this movie, man. Not just Jason Reitman, but, Anna Kendrick. This was the movie I think that made everyone come to the realization that maybe the actors in Twilight aren't bad at all. Maybe they're just stuck with a terrible, terrible script overall. Which it turned out to be true, because not only did we have Anna Kendrick doing that, but we also had Robert Pattinson branch out after Twilight, as well as Kristen Stewart. I mean, but Anna Kendrick really is the spotlight of the movie. She really does steal the film. She's great in the movie. The rest of the cast overall is great. Vera Farmiga, Danny McBride, Jason Bateman, J.K. Simmons, Zach Galifianakis. A strong, strong cast overall in this movie. And it delivers everything it promises and then some. It's a really damn good movie. It's one of Jason Reitman's best movies, showing that he's one of our great directors, and everybody in here plays their parts very well. What more can you say, man? Up in the Air is a fantastic, fantastic film. I can't recommend it enough. One of the best movies of the year, easily. So,
Directing a movie is a very overrated job. We all know it. You just have to say yes and no. What else do you do? Nothing. Maestro, should this be red? Yes. Green? No. More extras? Yes. More lipstick? No. Yes, no. Yes, no. It's directing.
Be Italian. Take a chance and try to steal a fiery kiss. Be Italian. Be Italian. When you hold me, don't just hold me, but hold me.
class liar, darling. Go out there and lie richly. Lie for the
Man, talk about a movie that severely got overlooked big time. I mean, this film, well, first off, let's get the big thing right out of the gate, the fact that this is now the second movie in 2009 with the title of 9, the other being the animated movie from Focus Features, which is pretty good too, but man, I really love the hell out of this movie. I think it's a really damn good movie, directed by Rob Marshall. The story here is that you have a director, Guido Contini, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, who's facing a midlife crisis, that is stifling his creativity, and leads him into a variety of complicated romantic involvements. As he struggles to complete his latest film, he's forced to balance the numerous formative women in his life, including his wife Louisa, played by Marion Cotillard, his mistress, played by Penelope Cruz, very, very good in this movie. I mean, not just good, but damn, just she is sexy in this movie, man. They all are in this movie, honestly. All the women are. Her film star muse, Claudia, played by Nicole Kidman. His confidant and costume designer, Judi Dench. An American fashion journalist, played by Kate Hudson. A prostitute from his youth, played by Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas. And his mother, played by Sophia Loren, who still looks pretty good after all these years. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen Sophia Loren in a movie, and she was looking still pretty good around that time. In fact, she might still be looking pretty good at her old age, but yeah, this is a movie that I really, really loved. I mean, I remember when Rotten Tomatoes had the consensus out on this, and it said, it has a game, great-looking cast, led by the always worthwhile Daniel Day-Lewis, but Rob Marshall's 9 is chaotic and curiously distant. And I could not disagree more with that last statement. Chaotic and curiously distinct. I really do love the hell out of this movie. I mean, I would actually go as far as to say that this is probably my second favorite movie musical, with Chicago in general. I mean, I'd have to double check that. I mean, I wrote this review back in 2009, so maybe I just need to rewatch it. Maybe I need to just think about it again, because we've had so many good musicals since then, a lot of good musicals since then. Maybe I wouldn't put this as my second favorite movie musical, but yeah, I mean, it definitely would be in the top 10, honestly. It'd be right up there with stuff like Grease and Moulin Rouge and also Wicked. I mean, a lot of good musicals. I actually would have to think about it, though. Would it still be in there? But it's definitely very high up there. I think it's definitely a whole lot better than people give it credit for. I mean, the movie overall really is good. The cast overall is top-notch. Like I said, Daniel Day-Lewis, Marion Cotillard, Penelope Cruz, Fergie. I actually thought were the stronger parts of the movie. Kate Hudson was really good. Nicole Kidman, Judi Dench, and Sophia Loren. It has a great cast overall. You could tell that it was inspired by, Federico Fellini's 8.5 in general, because this was based off of a Broadway play that was originally taken from the inspiration from Federico. I'm losing my Toy Bone. Moving too fast here. Federico Fellini's 8.5, and it is an impressive film overall. I was actually kind of surprised that Penelope Cruz, of all people, was the only one who got the Oscar nomination for this overall. And I mean, yeah, she's really good in the movie, but I really think it was mostly because she had just won the Oscar the year before for Vicky Cristina Barcelona. But I mean, yeah, I really dug the hell out of this movie, man. Like, the film was kind of trash for the musical numbers. They were saying that they were horribly edited overall. And all I can really say is, where were these horrible edits you were talking about? Because, yeah, the ones that really stood out to me were, of course, Fergie singing Be Italian. You hear it in that trailer there. Kate Hudson does a very good version of Cinema Italiano. Penelope Cruz with the Call from the Vatican song when she comes in for the first time. I mean, that's a moment that just sticks with you, man. I mean, but then again, it's Penelope Cruz in sexy lingerie singing pretty good. I mean, this really was a really good film that I just did not get where all this hatred was coming from, honestly. I mean, it's a movie that I think is definitely a whole lot better than most people give it credit for. It's a film that I honestly think is one of the better movie musicals out there. And it is a really damn good movie. Everybody is playing their parts very well. It really is Rob Marshall's second best film behind Chicago. I think it is definitely one of his best movies overall. And a fitting way to end the decade, because he made my favorite musical in Chicago, and this is definitely right up there with some of his best stuff and some of the best musicals out there. It's a terrific film. I can't recommend it enough. Definitely give it a second chance, because it is a movie that definitely deserves a lot more praise than it got early on. I think it's a terrific film. It deserves more attention. 9, I highly recommend it. It's definitely one of my favorite films of the year, no question about it.
because you want to kiss.
Kissing with me. Nice, yes. I am Prince Nothing.
Prince.
I was cursed by a dastardly witch doctor. One minute I am a prince, charming and handsome, cutting a rug, and then the next thing I know, I am tripping over these.
Everyone thinks they know the story of the princess and the frog.
You must kiss me.
Excuse me?
Please, princess. It will make me human again.
Just one kiss.
Unless you beg for more.
But no one knows what happened after the kiss. Until now.
How did you get way up there? And how did I get way down here and all...
This holiday season, in the tradition of Walt Disney's most beloved classics, comes the story behind the most magical kiss the world has ever known. Walt Disney Pictures, The Princess and the Frog.
Come. That's me.
I really love the hell out of this movie. I was really excited to see this movie for a couple reasons. One, Disney's first 2D animated film in 5 years. Two, the first big 2D animated feature we had seen since the Simpsons movie 2 years prior to that. And just three, it just looked like a really damn good movie and a film that felt like it was going back to what makes Disney's animated classics so special. I mean, this was a movie that I had a lot of high expectations going into it when I saw it, and I'm really glad that I came out of it feeling very, very happy with what I saw. The story of this is, of course, based off The Frog Princess, and you have the story set in 1920s New Orleans, Louisiana, telling the story of a hard-working waitress named Tiana, played by Annika Noe Rose from Dreamgirls, who dreams of owning her own restaurant. After kissing a prince, played by Bruno Campos from Jessie, who has been turned into a frog by an evil witch doctor, played by Keith David, Tiana becomes a frog herself and must find a way to turn back into a human before it's too late. And really, this is a film that I feel like is just pitch perfect. I mean, one, it's the return of 2D animation, and this is really kind of the film that started what I'd like to consider that was like the Little Mermaid in the third Disney Renaissance as a whole. I mean, this really is right now the third Disney Renaissance. The second Disney Renaissance was the late 80s, early 90s, and now we're kind of in that third Renaissance between, you know, the late 2000s and the and the mid 2010s, because that's when Disney was kind of back on track after having a couple of rough years between 2002 and 2007, I think, 2007, because they didn't have anything out in 2006, if I'm not mistaken, not something they owned. So this was technically kind of their Little Mermaid. Like Meet the Robinsons was their Great Mouse Detective, Bolt was their Oliver and Company. This is their Little Mermaid. Although the next movie they would do, the Tangled, kind of got, I don't know. It's kind of hard to decide if Tangled or Winnie the Pooh would be the kind of the rescuers down under. Tangled was not a big hit when it came out at first, but it has gone on to have a major following to it. And Winnie the Pooh really did not do well because they made the stupid decision of releasing Winnie the Pooh on the same day Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. We'll get to that in 2011 because that's a whole different thing. That's a whole other thing we could talk about altogether. But as far as this movie goes, this is just a great, great movie. I really love the hell out of this movie. I really love these characters overall. You get so attached to Tiana's storyline. I mean, no matter what color your skin is, you can really see her situation here, and you can really buy into the fact that she has all these dreams, and she has the chance to, she's working her butt off. That's one of the things I really like about the movie, is that, you know, the whole thing is that, you know, you can dream all you want to, but in this movie, it's just like, yeah, you can dream, but you also have to work, too, to make it happen. And she works her butt off so much in this movie. Like, she has so many jobs. Like, there's, in the beginning, like, she comes home from one job, sleeps for about 2 seconds, and then she's got to go and get ready for this other job. And she's putting all this money together to buy this restaurant where she thinks, there's a point where she thinks has the money to cover it. And then, the people who are, she's buying it from. Unfortunately, they have another offer to her, and they basically say, well, because of your background, I mean, you might as well stick to where you're at right now. It's just like, you see her working her butt off just trying to get this dream of hers, and it's like no matter what you do, life is going to give you. It's like what I've been saying for the last couple of years. Life does not give you happy endings at times, and this is kind of one of those examples. But it also works because you just have so many good characters to work with. I love her best friend in this movie. Like, it would have been so easy to make her kind of like a bad guy or kind of like an antagonist or something like that. But no, she is more than willing. She's more than just a friend. She really does feel like a real friend to her. Like, she is willing to help her out. She was willing to give her the money to get this restaurant. She was willing to help her out with the dress and all that after she ruins it at this party. I mean, this is a really, really... And she's a really funny Disney character as a whole. She's just a ton of fun on screen. I can't remember who did the voice for her. I think it's Jennifer Cody, if I'm not mistaken. But she makes it work. And she's really a ton of fun in this. All the characters here are a ton of fun. The witch is the doctor in this. Dr. Facilier is one of the great Disney villains. I mean, he's such a fun-looking design overall. The bad guy he's such a good bad guy too. He's got one of the great Disney villain songs of all time, and of course you got the voice of Keith David. How can you go wrong with that? And yeah, it's a fun adventure film overall. The animation is top notch. The story overall is well done. It's a return to form for Disney. This is the kind of stuff that we want to see from Disney overall. Like, yeah, we can accept. Yeah, we're more than willing to accept the CG animated movies if they're good. I mean, they were proved that they were good, but I want to see them go back to making 2D animated movies like this again. I know it's kind of hard. I know it was kind of hard to do even back then because this was a high-budgeted movie overall. And I don't think this movie was a massive hit when it came. I'd say that it wasn't a massive hit overall, but I know it cost a lot of money to produce. Yeah, it was a movie that cost $105 million to make. It barely made $100 million domestically, but it did eventually make its money back overall thanks to overseas markets with $271 million worldwide. So I guess it did make its money back overall, and it has gone on to have a big cult following in the long run, especially, and not even just a cult following, but just a following in general, because in the years since then, there has been now a refurbishing of Splash Mountain called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and I know this because, well, obviously you can tell if you go online to find it, but, I got this off of Macari whenever they announced this. I guess they were giving these out at D23. One of these Tiana's Bayou Adventure handkerchiefs, and it's really cool. I mean, I'm not a type of person that probably would go on Splash Mountain unless it was not a hot day out. But then again, maybe it is probably the best day to go out on a hot day. I mean, I'm not really much into water rides, honestly, but this is one I probably would want to ride overall, just because I love this movie so much. There are a lot of criticisms that the film has, and yeah, there's a couple of little nitpicky things too. Like one of the things that they don't really catch you up on is when the fact that they get turned into frogs, and all of a sudden they can talk to the dog in this movie. The dog can talk to them. It's never brought up again. Like there's one scene where the dog is questioning saying that is where the dog says Tiana, like the dog is like she knows the dog and all that, but you never hear that dog again. Like that dog never comes back in the movie. It makes no sense why that even needed to be in there. But like, that was there. There's also the thing that people kind of have against the movie is the fact that you got the first black Disney princess ever, and she spends half of the movie as a frog. Well, then again, what's the point of doing the movie then? I mean, that's something where it's a neat little twist on the Frog Prince storyline overall. Because I've never read the original story, but I could have sworn that she doesn't turn into a frog when that happens, and so they took that idea and said, let's just roll with that. And it works. It works here in this film overall, and I thought it did a very good job of handling that. The music overall is really good. Randy Newman does a very good job with the songs. I mean, it's a great movie, man. It's a film I love to death. This is a movie that anytime it's on television, I gotta watch it because I just love it so much. It's a great movie. The Princess and the Frog, one of the best movies of the year. And yeah, it's a movie that I loved it back then. I still love it now. Great, great film. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last film that we have here. One you probably have not heard of, but you really should because it really is a damn good movie.
Hello? Tracy, it's Phil.
Phil, where the hell are you guys?
We lost Doug.
What? We're getting married in 5 hours.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
What happened last night?
Whose baby is that?
Check its collar or something.
I looked everywhere. Nobody's seen Doug. He's not here.
Here's your car, officer.
All right, everybody act cool. Let's just get it and go.
What is going on? I lost the shoes. I married a whore. How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Some guys just can't handle Vegas.
Mike Tyson? This is my favorite part coming up right now.
Still got it.
Yeah, people just took to this movie, and keep in mind, this movie did not have big-name stars back then. I mean, Bradley Cooper, at the time, was known for being kind of the guy that was like the dickhead from Wedding Crashers, the dickhead antagonist of the Wedding Crashers. He wasn't really seen as kind of a big box office draw. He'd been in movies before this, like Midnight Meat Train, and then he was on the very underrated show Kitchen Confidential. But then this movie comes along, and then Ed Helms, who was on The Office, who was also on The Daily Show before that, was slowly starting to build his legacy as a comic actor. Zach Galifianakis was a relative unknown. And this movie just pushed every one of these people that were involved in this movie. Ken Jeong, they all went on to become big names in the decade to come, and it all came together with The Hangover, a story where you have Phil, Stu, Alan, and Doug, who travel to Las Vegas for a bachelor party to celebrate Doug's impending marriage. Doug being played by Justin Bartha. However, Phil, Stu, and Alan wake up with Doug missing and no memory of the previous night's events, and must find Doug before the wedding. And of course, when they wake up, they realize that Ed Helms realizes he's missing a tooth. Bradley Cooper, Zach Galifianakis finds a tiger in the bathroom. They all find a baby in there, and for some reason, Mike Tyson is in their hotel room. Don't ask questions. It just is how it is. And as we go along, we see Ken Jeong as this kind of like how do you want to put him in this movie? He's basically a gay Chinese gangster, pretty much. Not as chaotic or as annoying as he would get in films to come, but that's kind of the thing with this movie in particular. It reminds me so much of the first Home Alone movie, because it was a hit that was nearly the equivalent of Home Alone. It was a film that was both a critical and a commercial success. It was a film that ended up becoming the 10th highest grossing film of the year, and actually ended up surpassing Beverly Hills Cop as the highest grossing R-rated comedy of all time. And I could have sworn that this ended up becoming the highest grossing comedy, surpassing Home Alone, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, it would later been surpassed by Barbie anyway. But the film, not only was the film a big success overall, but it was a really funny movie. It was a really good, well-made film, because you could buy into the chemistry of the leading actors. You do believe Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, and Zach Galifianakis do want to find their best friend, because they are as the movie says, as Zach Galifianakis sings in the song, they're the three best friends that anybody can have. I mean, Zach Galifianakis overall was really good in the movie. Everybody plays their parts in this movie fairly well. The humor overall is really good. You have supporting characters like Heather Graham, who kind of plays like she plays kind of like a, I want to say she's the mother of the baby that they find, but no, she's a stripper and an escort. You follow characters played by Rachel Harris, Sacha Bareilles playing Doug's bride-to-be. Of course, Jeffrey Tambor is in here playing the father of Alan, and I'm trying to see who else is here. Mike Epps has a role in here as another Doug that comes into play here. I mean, there's so many funny moments all throughout the movie, and you do get engaged in the mystery. You do want to know where the hell Doug is, and how is this all going to turn out in the end. The movie hooks you in right away, and it all leads up to him being in the most simplest of all places, and it's just, but it's about the journey and the adventure that these guys go on, and it is a big journey and a big adventure overall that they go on. And I said before that this is basically kind of even though it's R-rated, it's more of a lighter version of something like A Very Bad Things, which I think is a very underrated dark black comedy. This is like a more mainstream comedy overall, and if I had to choose between The Hangover and Very Bad Things, I don't even think I want to go that far, because as much as I like Very Bad Things, I do think this is the much better movie overall. I think it is a very solid film. I think it's a very good film, but it's the definition of a one-trick pony, because as we'll see later on with the sequels, you try to do this over and over again, and like, it just doesn't work as much. It just doesn't work. I mean, it's basically the equivalent to what Todd Phillips later did with the Joker. Joker worked well the first time around. There was no reason to make a sequel, no matter how hard you tried to add in more to it by adding Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, even though she was one of the best things about that movie. If you don't have a good script to work with here, and you're only just making it because the first one was a success, maybe think about writing a better script overall, because that's what would happen with the next two movies. They tried so hard to make this the next comedy franchise, and it just didn't work after the other two movies. The Hangover Part 2 wasn't bad, but it was definitely the typical definition of a comedy sequel where they're just ripping off the same stuff they've done before. Everybody's dumbed down to where they were at the beginning of the first movie. Nobody really learns a lesson, and we have to go back to square one all over again. It's just like, what's the point? Like, why do we have to do that with the sequels? But we'll eventually delve more into the problems of those movies later on. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy how The Hangover overall, the first movie, worked as well as it did. It is a very funny movie. It's a well-made film. The casting overall is great. The mystery is really good. It's a great movie. You can definitely see why a lot of people bought into it. It's a terrific film. One of the year's best movies, no question about it.
Space. The final frontier.
I mean, that trailer that came out in front of Cloverfield over a year and a half ago really got people more excited than they possibly could have imagined. Because what they were saying about the Star Trek movie while it was in production was not really sounding too promising. You were going to get these, mostly, it was going to reboot it with a younger cast. You had people like, Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana and Carl Urban from Pathfinders. Simon Pegg was probably the biggest name that everyone was really looking forward to, but it felt like they were starting anew, and it kind of felt similar to when Batman '89 came out, and Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, and there was this huge, backlash against him. But it's important to keep in mind that Star Trek around this time was kind of off of most people's radar. Star Trek Nemesis failed at the box office, and Enterprise only ended its run with 4 seasons, which for a Star Trek series to do that, that's not very good for them in general. And Star Trek spent much of the 2000s mostly off of people's radars. There wasn't much of the franchise anymore for a lot of people, and it would take a miracle of all miracles to bring Star Trek back to its proper place in sci-fi history. And then Batman Begins came out, which became the first major reboot, rebooting the Batman franchise after Batman and Robin, and thus the reboot trend was born. We got the James Bond reboot with Casino Royale after that, and then you had 2 big successes on that hand, and so they were becoming a trend, but no reboot proved to be more surprisingly successful and critically beloved than what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek. I mean, this guy came into this as somebody who was a fan of Star Wars and brought his own unique vision to the world of Star Trek in general, and, essentially the story here is that it's a reboot of the TV series, which portrays a new cast in the first of the rebooted series, following James T. Kirk, played by Chris Pine, and Spock, played by Zachary Quinto from Heroes, aboard the USS Enterprise as they combat Nero, played by Eric Bana, a Romulan from their future who threatens the United Federation of Planets. The story takes place in an alternate reality because of time travel by both Nero and the original Spock, played by Leonard Nimoy. The alternate timeline was created in an attempt to free the film and franchise from established continuity constraints while simultaneously preserving original story elements. So J.J. Abrams and his guys really put a lot of hard work to make this stand out among most reboots in general, because, yeah, they were taking stuff from the original films, but they were also trying to create their own unique vision of what the Star Trek world could be like under J.J. Abrams. And they were very confident in this. I mean, there was a whole thing where they would show this off in the months before this movie came out. There'd be like special previews all across the world. I mean, Austin, Texas got to see Star Trek a month before everybody else did. And, Leonard Nimoy was there at the premiere, because it was supposed to be a premiere of Star Trek, a re-release of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And then Leonard Nimoy comes out as Spock, and Spock's just going like, "You're only going to show them the first 10 minutes?" Because that was what were they going to do? They were going to show the first 10 minutes of the new Star Trek movie, and he was just like, "You show them the first 10 minutes? Why don't we just go ahead and show you the whole thing?" And so then, yeah, some people, a lucky group of people, got to see that movie before anybody else did. And then the movie came out, and lo and behold, what followed after that was pretty amazing. Because, yeah, this was a really damn good movie. This is a film that really... This couldn't have been more perfect how they handled this. I mean, if there's ever been a better franchise to do a reboot with, it's Star Trek. I mean, with time travel being a major part of the franchise, you can pretty much do whatever you want to with Star Trek. Okay, almost anything, but it works because it works, and it ended up becoming the second best Star Trek film after The Wrath of Khan. I mean, that's how high I would put this up there with. I mean, this is right up there with the best Star Trek film, Wrath of Khan, and it works because everything about it just works so well. And like with Michael Keaton and Batman, once people saw the movie, all the naysayers, all the negative people coming out against the casting in this, shut their mouths up, because everybody played their parts well to a T. Chris Pine was great as Kirk. Zachary Quinto was great as Spock. Zoe Saldana was great as I just had her name. Why can't I remember her name? Uhura. Carl Urban as Bones. That was the one that everyone was really shocked at. Carl Urban made a great Dr. McCoy in this movie. I mean, my God, that was just... Talk about pitch-perfect casting. I mean, he was... And that made people realize that, hey, Carl Urban's actually much cooler than we thought he was. I mean, yeah. Because, of course, he followed up with Dredd and then The Boys. I mean, this guy... With this movie, this really turned him around and made him more into a bigger name than most people expected him to be, and turned out to be a pretty good actor overall. But then you have people like Simon Pegg, who was great as Scotty, Anton Yelchin playing Chekhov, John Cho as Sulu. Everybody played their parts very well. Bruce Greenwood playing Pike. I mean, this is a solid cast overall, and the way they connect this to the original series by having Leonard Nimoy in here, kind of being the voice of reason and telling this young Kirk that in the future we're going to be friends. And yeah, because in the beginning, Kirk and Spock hate each other, and it's slowly but surely they start to come together and realize that they may not get along on so many other things, but they have that connection that is going to help them become much better people than they ended up being the first time they saw each other. And the movie just works. The movie just works on so many levels. It's such an impressive looking film. The visuals are incredible. The music by Michael Giacchino is top notch. I mean, J.J. Abrams did his homework with this movie, and he did not disappoint at all. This is about as good of a reboot as you could possibly imagine, and it was such a great movie. It helped to reignite Star Trek for this new generation. The sequels, unfortunately, didn't quite live up to what this movie was setting up for. Into Darkness, I thought, was not as good, but I thought they turned it around a little bit with Star Trek Beyond at the end, and that's kind of where the series ended up with, only with 3 movies. But hey, we still got a really damn good movie out of this one here. You could tell that J.J. Abrams and his crew put a lot of work into this to make this stand out as something that is their own, but is also pretty much a great love letter to the Star Trek series in general, and it did not disappoint by any means necessary. It's a terrific film, an incredible film. I love the hell out of it. It's one of the best movies that came out that year. Star Trek definitely is something you have to see. Even if you're not a big Star Trek fan, you'll love the hell out of this movie. It's a great film.
Over the years, they've taken you on amazing journeys to worlds you've never imagined, and places you've only dreamed of. This summer, Disney Pixar will take you on their next great adventure with Carl Fredricksen. And he won't even have to leave his house. this summer. Journey to a lost world. With these guys.
Hi, Mr. Frederickson. Please let me in.
No.
All right. Disney Pixar's Up.
Sadly, we don't have the alternate version where Carl Fredricksen basically just decides to let Russell just die out there, and eventually he'll fall off there and fall out of the sky and all that. I mean, sadly, that version does not exist. Maybe if they make the live-action remake, that'll probably happen. But you know you're in for a treat when Disney and Pixar have to remind you of their great works from the past, and they were on a roll at that point. I mean, Cars was their weakest film, but how can you not get excited when you see all those classic movies right there? And yeah. Little did we know that this was going to be another classic film, and maybe even one of their best movies in general. Like, this really is up there with some of their masterpieces, and really, it just starts right from the get-go. But the story of this is that you have Carl Fredricksen, played by Ed Asner, who's an elderly widower who travels to South America with his youngster Russell, in order to fulfill the promise that he made to his late wife. In the jungle, they encounter an exotic bird and oppose Carl's childhood idol, played by Christopher Plummer, who has sinister plans to capture the bird. And he has these dogs, and it's just a very chaotic situation that I'll get into in just a second. But really, there's not much more I could say about this movie that hasn't already been said about already. It's just such an incredible film. From the first 10 minutes alone, literally the first 10 minutes is like a short film in its own right. You have this incredible story about how Carl met this girl when he was 10 years old. Little did they know that, Carl's, he's an adventurer. He idolizes the famed explorer Charles Muntz, and then he befriends Ellie, who becomes his wife, and, they eventually become friends, and all of a sudden they become married, and it's all this, and they have, like, a miscarriage, and there's just all this stuff is going on, and me describing it really is doing a disservice. You gotta check it out for yourself, because it literally is a 10-minute short film on its own merits. Like, this is the type of thing that they make short films off of, not as part of a movie. And usually that would be like the end of the good stuff in the movie, but far from it. I mean, when he gets older, I mean, that's where there's still a lot of good stuff overall in the film, and it just is such a really entertaining film all across the board. All the characters are great in here. Russell is a fun kid character. Doug comes into play here. This dog that follows them, and he's played very well by Bob Peterson. The villain is pretty fun overall, and his dogs are so good. Like, the genius of how they put these dogs in this movie, like, they look diabolical and evil, and then you have to throw in, and then one of them, the main dog has like his voice chip is all messed up, so instead of sounding all menacingly, he sounds like his voice is squeaked up, and it's just like it's just so fun to watch overall. Like, the movie, it knows that it could be both funny and set and dramatic, and also it just works on so many levels, on so many wavelengths, and it's just, I'm just kind of rambling on right now, but I really don't need to say much more about this movie that hasn't already been said. It's a damn good movie. A great score by Michael Giacchino. I mean, this is one of Pixar's best movies. It really is one of the best movies Pixar's ever made. And really, I don't think it's much of a surprise. It says a lot when this became the second animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture. But then again, this was when they were starting to do the 10 nominees, so people wouldn't get pissed off at the fact that there was only 5, and they missed out on movies like The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight, or WALL-E, like they did last year. But either way, at least that they're acknowledging that this is a good movie that deserved to be up there with the best pictures of the year, even though it didn't win. But regardless, it is still one of the great animated films of all time. It's another one of Pixar's magnum opuses. Up, man. What more can you say? It's a great movie. If you have not seen it now, I don't know why you haven't, but get your ass out of your seat and go see it, because, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cliche for me to say this, but you are doing yourself a huge disservice by missing out on this film.
Going to breaking news.
The vessel seems to be disabled or in some kind of distress.
The course of human history has changed today.
There's a lot of secrets in District 9. District 9.
So District 9 is basically this movie that is taking place in a mostly found footage format, which features fictional interviews, news footage, and video from surveillance cameras, and explores the themes of humanity, xenophobia, and social segregation, beginning in an alternate 1982, when an alien spaceship appears over Johannesburg, South Africa. When a population of sick and malnourished insectoid aliens are discovered on the ship, the South African government confines them to an internment camp called District 9. 20 years later, during the government's relocation into the other aliens to another camp, one of the confined aliens, named Christopher Johnson, who was about to try to escape from Earth with his son and return home, crosses paths with a bureaucrat named Wikus van der Meer, I think I pronounced that right, leading the relocation, and the title is inspired by the events of Cape Town, District 6 during the Apartheid era. And for the longest time, the big thing about this movie in particular is that it only cost $30 million to make. This movie looks incredible for the $30 million budget that they had. And it worked out in its favor. It was a massive hit with critics. It was a big commercial success. Got nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. And the one thing I always ask myself about this movie is, how did they do it? How did they make a movie like this for only $30 million? For the longest time, I could never figure it out. But this past time when I watched it again, I think I finally figured it out. And honestly, I think it's right in front of us why this movie cost as much as it did and worked. Think about it. Who's the biggest name attached to this movie? Peter Jackson. However, he's a producer on the movie. The film was directed by Neil Blomkamp, who had never directed a movie before this. It features a lot of actors in here who were relative unknowns. I mean, the biggest name of this group that I see here is Charles Copley, and even he wasn't really a big name when this movie came out. He kind of isn't now, but you still see him in more stuff nowadays. But that's why I think a lot of this movie's beneficial to the budget. Beneficial. What am I trying to say here? A lot of the film's benefit to having that $30 million budget mostly comes from the fact that there's no big names attached to this movie that would affect the budget overall. And compare that to what we see nowadays with blockbusters. You know, the Marvel movies, for example. I mean, yeah, they have some unknown directors there, but they still have notable name stars in there. They're getting these big paychecks. You know, from Disney and Marvel, and, you know, Star Wars is another one, you know, the DC movies. Pretty much every blockbuster has that feeling of, you know, these are not big names, but we could use the money to, you know, pay the actors and pay the directors and the bigger names involved in here, and also focus more on the special effects. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, really, is that this film did not have a big team around it overall in terms of notable names in here, but it didn't need to, because it had a really good concept overall. It has a really good look to it overall. This is a groundbreaking movie. This is a film that I really, really loved when it came out, and I still love it nowadays. I mean, this showed you what you can do with a very small budget overall. If you're able to pull off this with $30 million, you can do it with anything. Like, you know, you see these movies that are over budget overall. It's just like you come to the realization that they're not putting that money to the movie in general. They're putting it to the names. They're putting it to all the people that are the bigger names that are involved in this. They're not usually using it on the script overall, or focus. They're mostly focusing on the visuals and the names, because, you know, that's the only reason people will go to those movies, according to them. But I mean, we just saw recently Sinners recently was a prime example of a movie like District 9, where you have big names attached to it. Well, not even that, but Sinners overall had bigger names to it, but they were able to keep the budget down, and Warner Brothers just let them do whatever they want, and it paid off in the big time for them. But in the case of District 9, I wouldn't say this was really a gamble overall, but it really exceeded a lot of people's expectations. Nobody was expecting this to be as good as it was. On top of that, it's a sci-fi film that's supposed to be mostly an original concept, even though it's based off of a short by the same director called Alive in Joburg. But, you know, it's an original concept overall. It's an original concept that some people could look at this as probably a future franchise in general, and it didn't. I mean, they knew how to keep this restrained in one movie and not focus on another movie unless they really needed to do that. And they don't really do that towards the end of it, but I mean, it just goes to show you what this movie is capable of doing. It's a great film. Charles Copley, I think, is very good in his film debut. The visuals overall are very impressive. The alien work here is well done. The visuals overall are top-notch. I mean, this is a good movie. The story overall is really good as well. I mean, this film just works on so many levels, and yet you still wonder what happened to this director. I mean, this guy looked like he was on his way to becoming a big rising director in the future. Because if he could do this with District 9, imagine what he could do with other projects as well. But they eventually gave him other projects, and he didn't really pan out as well as this movie did overall. I mean, look at the next movie he directed, Elysium. They gave him a much bigger budget overall. And yeah, it was a hit overall, but most people, including myself, saw it as more of a massive disappointment to District 9 in general. I still really like it, but at the same time, you could definitely tell that they were putting too much focus on the star power in that movie. And even when Chappie came out, which was a much smaller movie, but still a bit higher than this movie, it really did feel like Blomkamp lost his way. Of course, I've talked about that movie as one of my worst movies of all time, because, yeah, it's a terrible movie. And he hasn't been the same since then. He's not made a good movie since where I got really excited to see him do something great again. And it's a shame, because this movie showed a lot of potential of what he could do if the studio just let him keep a restrained budget to it. But, no, they saw how well this movie did. They gave him a bigger, bloated budget with the next couple of movies, and it just didn't work out for him. He hasn't made a good movie since this film. This was his magnum opus overall, and if we never get a sequel out of it, I think we should be more than happy about that. But as it is, it's a really good movie. It's a film that is very enjoyable. It's a very entertaining film. Yeah, it's a really, really damn good movie, and for the smallest budget you can make for a blockbuster like this. But, yeah, not much more to say about it. District 9 is pretty freaking awesome, and if you haven't seen it already, you are doing yourself a huge disservice by not doing so.
The plant's losing money. Who's going to handle this?
I can do it.
Joan, book Lucy to Minnesota this weekend.
Minnesota? What is that?
We call that snow deer.
How bad can it be?
Comedy.
And that is every single joke in this goddamn movie. I'm not even kidding with you. The main crux of all the jokes and the humor in this is that, oh, this woman who's used to warm weather has to go to a place that's cold and go and work in a place that's cold. There's the comedy. Like I said, this movie wouldn't have worked 10 years ago, 20 years before, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years. Like, even in the 50s when movies like this were the norm, this would still seem so dated and so awful. This is a terrible movie. But anyway, Reese Witherspoon plays a Renee Zellweger. Sorry about that, but I get my names confused here. But Renee Zellweger plays a high-powered consultant in love with her upscale Miami, Florida lifestyle, who's sent to New Ulm, Minnesota, to oversee the restructuring of a blue-collar manufacturing plant. After enduring a frosty reception for the locals, icy roads, and freezing weather, she warms up to the small-town charm and eventually finds herself being accepted by the community. When she's ordered to close down the plant and put the entire community out of work, she's forced to reconsider her goals and priorities and find a way to save the town. Gee, haven't heard that plot before except in Gung Ho, Doc Hollywood, frickin' Cars. I mean, just... why? Why was this movie made? And, yeah, you thought that Bride Wars was the worst PG romantic comedy to come out in January 2009? Okay, technically it still is, but not even close to it still is. But this is right up there with how bad this is. Like, there's nothing about this movie that is clever. There's nothing about this movie that's charming. There's nothing about this movie that's funny. They waste a good cast in this movie. Harry Connick Jr. playing her love interest in here. I mean, this guy is a really good actor. Not only a great singer, but he's a great actor. J.K. Simmons is in this movie, and he's probably the only one who's given it his all in here. I mean, he actually gained 40 pounds to play the role he's in. Like, he wears everyone thought that he was wearing a fat suit during this movie, but no, he gained 40 pounds for this movie. A noble cause by him, but I'm just thinking to myself, why did you waste your time on that with this movie? Nobody gave a crap about this movie. This thing just burned and just was dead at the box office almost immediately because we've seen the story done better in other movies. Like I said, the ones mentioned before. Like, even Cars did this much better, and it's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's just a waste of all this talent, and they spent all this money making it. I mean, granted, it was not a small budget, but even $8 million for a movie like this, I could make a movie like this much better for less than $8 million. At least the film I would have done would have been a little bit more different, more unique, something that completely wasn't just a ripoff of everything that had come before, every other comedy like this that was done before this. I mean, just this movie is inexcusably bad. This is one of those movies where it's just like, This should not have been released in theaters. This should have been one of those movies that I wish we would have had streaming services back then, because this is the thing that would have been perfect for streaming service. But no, this should have been something that should have been seen on Lifetime and not star an Academy Award winner in Renee Zellweger. This should have had somebody like, I don't know, Candace Cameron Bure or Melissa Joan Hart, whoever was starring in a lot of those Lifetime movies back then. Maybe not Meredith Baxter Birney, because she was getting a little old up there, but you get the idea here. This film was just... This was not good. This is the perfect definition of a movie that does not give a fuck about your intelligence and just want. It's like, here's the thing. A movie like this can work. It can work if you do, but you have to do something new and different with it. And they don't do that at all. It's everything you expect to see in a movie like this. The plot points, the twists and turns. You know, there's going to be a wire reveal. There's going to be a third act breakup. You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. This movie is awful. This is up there with some of the worst movies of the year. I actually don't think I had this on my worst of the year list, but I'd have to double check again. But if it's not up there, it probably would have been. It's probably close. Probably my 11th or 12th worst movie on here. But yeah, it's a bad movie. It's a really, really bad film. Avoid New in Town like the plague.
Place more beautiful.
Wow.
Than Hawaii's Napali coast.
How far are you going? The big trail?
You really should see it.
Mind if we tag along? Yeah, are you kidding?
Before you die.
They found 2 bodies on the beach.
On August 7th.
Someone on this trail isn't who they say they are.
It could be anybody.
Long after the story's over.
People die out here every year.
The twist will keep you talking.
Come on!
A Perfect Getaway. Rated R.
Okay, first of all, when did someone say, "Do you mind if I do this?" mean, yes, you can do that? I mean, I'm pretty sure that if someone ever says, do you mind doing this? And someone's saying, yes, I do mind. I thought that meant don't do it. I mean, that's what I've been pretty much been told to understand. But apparently nowadays, just like, if someone says, do you mind if we do this? Yeah, go ahead. No, there's no worries. Like, I mean, like, it just, like, I don't know. But, second of all, I didn't know that was Chris Hemsworth in there. That another movie he made pre getting cast as Thor. But, third, this isn't a very good movie. I mean, this is a movie where you have Timothy Olyphant, Mila Jovovich, Keely Sanchez, and Steve Zahn, starring as a group of vacationing couples in Hawaii will find their lives in danger when murders begin to occur on the island, leading to suspicions over one of the couples being the killers. Yeah, and it's pretty much a straightforward ripoff of something like The River Wild, kind of, except it's a couple this time around instead of somebody else in there going off on this adventure. And the big difference is that The River Wild was actually something enjoyable. It wasn't a great movie, but it was certainly more enjoyable than this film. This is kind of a boring movie, man, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I really don't like Mila Jovovich. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't help it. She's not a good actress. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you can be suckered into the Resident Evil movies all you want to, or Ultraviolet, but I'm sorry, she sucks as an actress. I've only seen one movie where she's been tolerable, and that's The Fifth Element. That's it. I mean, this is not a good movie. It's a boring film. The characters are so bland and stock. There's nothing about them that makes it interesting whatsoever. And you could pretty much figure out right from the get-go who the bad guys are going to be and what's going to be the big twist at the end. There's nothing surprising about this movie at all. It's a boring film. It's a lazy film. These actors deserve a lot better than this. And I'm talking about Tim Olyphant, Steve Zahn, Chris Hemsworth, Marley Shelton is also in here too. I mean, they deserve a better movie than this, man. It just isn't there. I might be alone on this, but Perfect Getaway is not a good movie. I'm sorry, A Perfect Getaway. I need to get the full title correct. So that is A Perfect Getaway. Not a perfect movie by any means, and far from it. It's pretty bad, in my opinion.
Hey guys, look! It's a wishing rock. You make a wish, and then it comes true.
From the director of Spy Kids.
I wish one of us was super smart.
It is I. You're healing me with your mind.
More adventure.
I wish you long arms!
Than you could ever wish for.
Say hello to my little friend!
Sure.
I wish I had telekinesis! Telekinesis, you dummy!
PG starts August 20th.
I mean, kind of the trailer gives you an indication of why this movie doesn't work. It's It's a story where you have a rainbow-wishing rock that ends up in the possession of different people, where the wishes have various results for those who make the wishes in a series of shorts. And they're literally shorts because they're little segments. Like, you'll have a segment involving John Cryer and Leslie Mann as a couple. You'll have a segment involving James Spader. William H. Macy also has a segment in here. So does Kat Dennings and Jimmy Bennett. This one is just not enjoyable, really. I mean, even think for the kid audience that it's attached to. I mean, I'll say this, it's slightly better than Shark Boy and Lava Girl is, but at least Shark Boy and Lava Girl had some funny, over-the-top moments in there that kind of made it worth it. I mean, the line reading from the kids in that movie are much more funnier. You know, send them to the principal's office and have them expelled! Like, that type of stuff. And George Lopez is pretty fun, playing a fun, over-the-top character in that movie. This one, it really doesn't seem like there's a direction for this movie in particular, and I mean, I guess the kids can enjoy it, but overall, the adults who really like Robert Rodriguez's work, I just don't see it in here. I just didn't think it was really worth it. I thought it was kind of bland and mediocre. I mean, there's nothing really all that great about it. Some good ideas overall, but never enough for me to say that this was one that I think kids would really like. I don't think really the kids overall will really get into this, and you can kind of see why they dumped it out in the middle of August. Usually, when you open a movie this late in August, a kid's movie in particular, you're not really expecting a whole lot from it, and it didn't do bad business overall. It did make its budget back, but even then, this is one that I think most people probably forgot about almost immediately. It's not one of Robert Rodriguez's better movies overall, and hey, it's at least better than his Spy Kids movie coming up after this, but anyway, that's short, so let's...
Okay, where are we on the star file? You can buy and name a star, Merrill. It's $75, and you get a celestial map and a certificate.
Yes, I was really looking for something a little more impressive. Can I buy a constellation?
I don't know. You can buy a black hole.
So I'm not sure a black hole sends exactly the right message at this point in the relationship.
You have to stop sending things. It's just getting very awkward.
I understand, I won't. I just have one more little thing. Dr. Tobin is apparently the best marriage counselor in the city, and the learners recommended him.
They've been divorced for a year.
They have, but the one thing they do agree on is how much they love Dr. Tobin. Do you still love me at all?
I don't know if I can love you a little.
I can get by on a little less love for a while. Maybe years.
I'm sorry. I have to go. There's my client. What's he doing in the...
Did you hear about the Morgans? This guy's still out there. I recommend you both enter the witness relocation program.
What? I can't commit to spending the rest of my life with my husband.
I know exactly how you feel.
Comedy.
Boy, what a way to end a lackluster year for some really bad comedies. We had some good comedies in there, but there was a lot of terrible movies. And just like how we started the year with films like Bride Wars and New in Town, here's another movie that you've seen done to death before. Did you hear about The Morgans? Or what it should be called, do you remember the movie For Richer or Poorer? You don't? Cool, we're going to make this then. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the pitch whenever Mark Lawrence, the director of this, went to Columbia Pictures. And it's just like, so do you guys remember that Tim Allen, Kirstie Alley movie For Richer or Poorer? And the studio executives were like, what did you say? And probably Mark Lawrence was just like, oh, nothing. Here's my idea that's refreshing and totally new and never has been done before. Stop me if you've heard this plot before. Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker play a couple who is a power couple in New York City on the verge of divorce until they witness the murder of a client from Sarah Jessica Parker's character, and they enter the temporary witness protection program, given new identities, and relocated to a small Wyoming town. Yeah, it's For Richer or Poorer all over again, except Tim Allen and Kirstie Alley are far too busy to be involved in this. So let's get Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker, two people who have no chemistry whatsoever. I mean, good Lord, this movie is awful. I mean, everything that you would think that would come from a movie like this is in here. It's lame comedy, wasted by a lot of good people involved in here. I mean, terrible lines in particular. Like one of them is like the one line I always remembered that I always hated was when she's talking to the mayor. It's Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker talking to the mayor and his wife, played by Sam Elliott and Mary Steenburgen. Great actors, but even they can't save the material given to them. Like Sarah Jessica Parker's talking to them and saying like, "Oh, I'm a member of PETA, people for the ethical treatment of animals," and Mary Steenburgen goes like, "Well, I'm also for PETA too, people for eating tasty animals." Don't even bother, comedy guy. This is not your fight here. Yeah, the comedy in here is god awful. I mean, this is a terrible movie. I mean, if they did something new or different with it, then maybe it could have worked, but it's literally the same plot as For Richer or Poor. It's literally the same story. Tim Allen and Kirstie Alley in that movie were a New York City power couple who were about to separate, and then they got involved in this big thing where the IRS was going after them, so they have to go out to Amish country, and it's literally the same goddamn story, except not in Amish country. No, we got to send it to Wyoming, and we got to have a murder be the incident here, and they're going to be chased by Michael Kelly of all people, and yeah, just another bad example of just how bad this movie is. The comedy in here, like I said, is so terrible. It even has the nerve and the audacity for when the killer actually comes into town. You see that there's a horse costume running around, and so there's going to be a point where Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker have to go inside of there. And you would think that this movie would be smart enough not to do so, but no. There's literally a scene where they're just like, oh, we're never going to wear that. And then later on down in the movie, you see them in the goddamn horse costume. See, look what you did. You killed the comedy guy. Like I told him to back down, but it's just like, even he doesn't want anything to do with this garbage anymore. Like, if you have to throw in the fucking horse costume to get your lazy laughs out of this, you have failed as a movie in general. I could not believe this was made by the same guy that made Miss Congeniality, 2 Weeks Notice, Music and Lyrics. Like, this isn't a hack writer either, but a hack director either, but lo and behold, as soon as this movie came out, his career went tumbling down because he followed this up with stuff like The Rewrite, and more recently, the Anna Kendrick Disney Christmas comedy Noelle, which was really not that good. It was a really bad movie, and yeah, this is the prime example of what happens when you're trying to go, you know that your movie is bad, and so you don't want to put it out there on a date that you actually believe it in, so just put it out underneath one of the biggest holiday release of the year, and just say that, well, it's not our fault the movie failed, it was behind Avatar, like, we couldn't do anything about it, even though we're the people that put it there, and it's just like, yeah, what more do you got to say about this? Did you hear about the Morgans? It should be. Did you hear how terrible this movie is? Or the better question is, you've seen this movie before, haven't you? Yeah, if you've seen other comedies like this, and it just isn't worth it, man. It's absolutely pointless. There's nothing about it that works. Hugh Grant, Sarah Jessica Parker, Sam Elliott, Mary Steenburgen, Elizabeth Moss, and Wilford Brimley deserve a lot better than this pile of garbage. Just the perfect way to cap off a very lackluster year for these lame comedies. Like I said, we've had a lot of good comedies come out this year. Some ones that are big hits, some that are ones you have to seek and find out, like Ghost of Girlfriend's Past and Whip It, among many others. But this one is definitely in that category of stuff like Bride Wars, New in Town, Old Dogs, just really, really bad comedies that you should definitely avoid like the plague. So yeah, that's Did You Hear About the Morgans?
You and me together forever.
50 years ago, the students of William Dawes Elementary imagined what the future might hold. Today, we unveiled their legacy.
List of dates, every major global disaster for the last 50 years in perfect sequence. The next number on the chain predicts that tomorrow, 81 people are going to die in some kind of tragedy. Get off the train.
Why? What's wrong?
Just take the baby and get off the train.
Put the presumed dead at 81.
Prediction came true. It's not coincidence. Don't let them watch the news.
Why don't you tell me what's going on? They were here.
Who?
The Whisper people.
The numbers are a warning. They're a warning to everyone.
This is not a test. This is an emergency broadcast transmission.
Are we gonna die?
I will never let that happen, Caleb. Do you hear me? Never.
See, that trailer in particular has some of the stuff that's actually kind of cool about this movie and kind of makes it worth it a little bit, but, you know, honestly, this movie could have just been yet another bland, generic Nicolas Cage movie where you're just waiting for somebody to give this guy a good script already, because this is getting ridiculous of how many bad movies he was making between 2005 and 2010. But no, this thing had to go down a pathway that just ruins the film altogether. So as you get tell from the trailer, this is centering on the discovery of a strange paper filled with numbers and the possibility that they somehow predicted the details of various disasters. As they say in the trailer, this thing has somehow been able to predict, you know, the number of major disasters over the past 50 years, like how many people are going to die. Like this thing predicted the Oklahoma City bombing, the 9/11 attacks, Hurricane Katrina. And there's an event on there that says that tomorrow 81 people are going to die somewhere. And so you have this New York City subway derailment that kills a lot of people. And according to the news report, it's an estimated 81 people. Oh, knows. Like, it's literally kind of correct, even though it's an estimate, and that number could still either skyrocket or actually get lower. I mean, it literally just says an estimated 81. It doesn't mean the final numbers in general. So yeah, that's part of the problem with the movie in general. But I will say this. The subway derailment is pretty cool, but the plane crash is definitely the reason why this movie has some notoriety to it. Because, man, that plane crash, it's chilling to watch. It's crashing in the rain and exploding. Like, that's one of the few things that makes this movie almost worth it. Because other than that, though, it would have just been a bland, generic action movie with Nicolas Cage in it. But then they had to pull the rug out of you by doing something at the end that just feels completely out of place and completely ridiculously thrown in there. What's the big twist of the movie, you may ask? Aliens. It's my failed attempt to do the aliens meme, but no, literally, they throw in aliens in this, and then they try to throw in religious aspects, and it's just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this in a way that's so stupidly put together? Like, seriously, this is one of the dumbest excuses to have a twist ending that involves aliens and also combining it with religion. And poor Rose Byrne, man. I love Rose Byrne, but even in here, like, when she has to deliver the line, I did it for the children, it's just like, oh, come on. Like, it feels, it's phony, it's forced in, and the whole thing just is completely, this is the reason why this is one of the worst movies I've seen in 2009. Like, this is one of my top 6, I think it's in my top 6, the 6th worst movie I saw that year. If it's not in there, if it's not in that spot, it's definitely in that list. But yeah, it's a bad movie. It's a really terrible movie, and it fails because of that terrible, terrible twist ending. And I expect better from Alex Proyas. Alex Proyas has not usually made a bad movie. This is the guy that did The Crow. This is the guy that did Dark City. This is the guy that did I, Robot. And then he just went ahead and made these garbage movies like this and then Gods of Egypt. It's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you ruining your good name with these piles of garbage? And Gods of Egypt is much worse, but this movie is just so terrible because of how it ends. It's just, I can't believe how bad it is. I can't believe people bought into it. The movie was a huge hit at the box office, and it actually didn't get the worst reviews in general, but I'm sorry. When you throw in a pointless twist with aliens and try to combine it with religion and just have some of the worst line readings ever, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a terrible film. I hate this movie so much. I hate knowing it's one of the worst movies of the year, easily. Easily.
Can you state your name for the camera?
Dr. Abigail Tyler.
Okay, where would you like to begin?
I am actress Mila Jovovich, and I will be portraying Dr. Abigail Tyler. This film is a dramatization of events that occurred October 2000. Every scene in this movie is supported by archived footage. Some of what you're about to see is extremely disturbing.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely disturbing, but it certainly isn't going to be scary. I mean, first problem with this movie right here, if you have to have the actress who's playing the character in this come out and tell you what you're about to see is a dramatization of what's going on here, and, you know, everything in here is going to be really disturbing, and, you know, the whole thing is supposed to be, the movie is actually real, but this is just reenactments. It's just like, you've already lost the audience here, and, yeah. What do you expect anything more from the same director that just gave us Star Trek Section 31 this year? A contender for one of the worst movies of the year? Would you really be that surprised at all? But yeah, this is The Fourth Kind. It's a pseudo-documentary purporting to be a dramatic reenactment of true events that occurred in Nome, Alaska, in which a psychologist uses hypnosis to uncover memories of alien abduction from her patients and find evidence suggesting that she may have been abducted as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of the film, Milla Jovovich informs the audience that the entire movie is actually real, that she will be playing a character based on a real person named Abigail Tyler, and that the film will feature archival footage of the real Tyler. The Abigail Tyler seen in the archival footage is played by Charlotte Milchard, and at various points throughout the film, the archival footage scenes and accompanying dramatic reenactments are presented side by side. That's really fucking stupid. I mean, the whole point of this movie is supposed to be reenactments. This is stuff that you report on the DVD for the behind-the-scenes footage, not in an actual movie like this. And again, let's just get the elephant out. Let's just get to the elephant in the room. It's nothing but a rip-off of Paranormal Activity, which is a far superior movie, and it didn't insult the intelligence of its audience with that movie by having the actors coming out and saying, what you're about to see is something that we are reenacting, but we are telling you that this actually happened. I mean, it's just like, it's such a terrible, terrible way to promote this movie, that even if the studio took Paranormal Activity seriously and said, fuck it, we're going to release it anyway, this thing still was a terrible movie. This whole thing got so bad, people actually sued this movie. I mean, this thing got controversy because they had put out these fake news articles that was related to real news outlets out in Alaska, and the Alaskan Press Club sued Universal, and they got a $20,000 settlement because of it. Like, they failed at every single level with this movie. The movie is not engaging, and not only that, you know, we have to, the scares in here are not interesting. The casting is, the casting overall here isn't bad, but there's just nothing in here that you could take seriously. And I'm sorry, I know keep saying this, but I don't care. I don't like her as an actress. Milla Jovovich was the worst person to get for this movie. I mean, I'm sorry. She's probably a nice person. I have no reason to believe she's not a nice person in real life. I mean, she's probably a good person overall, but I'm sorry. You suck as an actress, man. I can't take you seriously, no matter what movie you're in. I just don't like you in any single movie that you're in. And certainly not in a movie like this, where, you know, you're trying to play this character here, and it doesn't help that you have a really bad movie behind you, and you're trying to save face for it. And it's just like, I can't do it, man. Like, I'm sorry. I can't do it. This is a terrible movie. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's a lazy ripoff of Paranormal Activity, which, fitting for Universal that they would have two movies within the span of a month, where two other much more successful movies, Paranormal Activity and the Twilight Saga New Moon, came out. We had Cirque du Freak a couple weeks ago, but at least with Cirque du Freak, that was a much better movie than New Moon. But in this case, Paranormal Activity was much better than The Fourth Kind. This was one of the worst movies of 2009. This was that bad of a movie. It's a lousy film. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's just nothing, man. It's just not a good movie by any means necessary. One of the worst movies of the year, easily. So.
They're not hunters. And they're not warriors.
I'd like to see how big you are without that whip. Same basic size.
On June 19th, I was chosen by the gods!
Yeah, here we go. I never got a sword.
This is really too fast. Oh, sorry.
It's pretty amazing with the old...
My God, 2009 had some really, really bad comedies. I mean, we've already taken a look at a couple of them so far. Bride Wars, New in Town. We haven't even gotten to Old Dogs yet, but Year One is definitely one of the worst, not only comedies, one of the worst movies of the year of 2009. And just, I mean, I can't believe how bad this movie was. I couldn't believe it back then. I still can't believe how this film has just gotten worse as time has gone on. It really should not be that bad of a movie. It's a funny concept. Basically, it's a parody of the Book of Genesis, where you have two tribesmen, played by Jack Black and Michael Cera, who travel to the city of Sodom to save their love interests, Juno Temple, and, can't remember who the other one was that they were trying to save. June Diane Raphael. That was the other person that I'm thinking of here. I was thinking of Olivia Wilde, but no, she's another character in this movie, but to save their love interest after being banished from their tribe. Problems quickly emerge during their journey as they encounter several biblical figures across the way. And on paper, it really doesn't look that bad. I mean, it literally looks like a modern-day retelling of, a modern-day version of something like Holy Moses or History of the World Part 1, those movies from the 80s. Because it has a lot of stars in there. It takes place at a period time. And if that was it, this movie probably would not be anywhere near as bad as it is. But, I mean, even the performances in here aren't bad either. Jack Black and Michael Cera are fine. They're not that great in here. They're just being Jack Black and Michael Cera. The cast overall is really good. I mean, Oliver Platt, David Cross, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Vinnie Jones, Juno Temple, Diane Raphael, Olivia Wilde, Bill Hader, Hank Azaria. The cast is good in here. The people who made this movie are not hacks either. Like I said, Harold Ramis directed this movie, and it was the last thing he directed. And Gene Stupnitsky and Lee Eisenberg, these are guys from The Office. There's no reason why this movie shouldn't be as bad as it is. And if you take away one aspect of it, it's a serviceable comedy. Unfortunately, somebody at Sony Pictures saw The Love Guru while they were making this movie and told the people making this movie, "Hey guys, I've got a great idea. I just seen this amazing movie called The Love Guru. It has Ben Kingsley pissing in a gold vat. I mean, it's got two elephants fucking in the middle of an ice skating rink. That's what we need in our movie. So take the script that you had before, add in poop jokes, add in a ton of gross out humor because that's what the kids want to see. We're gonna have a blockbuster hit on our hands." Oh God, yeah. When the crude humor starts, that's where the no is. And let me talk about the cruel humor in this movie with a better example of a cruel humor joke from from a much better comedy called Airplane. The shit literally hits the fan. And literally, let's talk about what the problems with the cruel humor. It's not even funny. It's just characters are just doing things for the sake of, being gross because it's not even an R-rated movie. It's a PG-13 movie, and even for a PG-13 movie, this is just pathetic. I mean, you ever seen where Jack Black is eating poo for no reason? You have Michael Cera sleeping with a man who farts considerably for no reason. A drag queen high priest played by Oliver Platt, and just, last time Oliver Platt was used in a Harold Ramis movie, he was one of the best things about that movie, and that was The Ice Harvest. And really, if you want to see a legendary comedy director in the prime of his career with a movie that really is much better than this pile of garbage is, The Ice Harvest is the movie to go. Don't even bother with this movie. Good Lord, this movie was unbelievably bad. I could not believe it. And yeah, it's bordering on Love Guru bad. It's that bad. But unlike a movie like The Love Guru, where everything about it was just wrong on so many levels and just so unfunny, there are times when the humor can work. Not the gross-out humor, but the humor in general. Like the stuff that they're given to these very good comedic actors. It can work. The stuff with Cain and Abel, David Cross and Christopher Mintz-Plasse. That was funny. That was actually pretty good. Some good, funny comedy. Olivia Wilde has some good, funny moments in here. So do a lot of the actors in here. But really, the main problem with the movie comes with their lazy attempts to bring in gross-out humor because that's what the kids want to see, as the studio execs at Sony were thinking when they make this movie. Like whoever said put gross-out humor in this, I hope they got their ass fired because of this. Because, man, this is a terrible, terrible movie, and such an insulting way for Harold Ramis to go out. This one of the great comedy directors of all time, one of the great comedy people in general, and this is the shit he's got to go on, literally. Like this, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable how horrible this movie is. This is a terrible, terrible comedy, and had it been not for the few bits where there were actually some good, funny moments with the main cast, I would have said this is one of the worst movies of the year. Which it is. It definitely is. But compared to Bride Wars, compared to what we'll get to later on in the year with Old Dogs, and compared to some other comedies we'll get to that are absolutely god awful, yeah, this is bad. But trust me, it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. So strap yourself in, because we're only at the halfway mark of the summer of the year of 2009 in terms of comedy. This was not one of the stronger years for comedies in general, even though there were some good comedies. The Hangover was good. Ghost of Girlfriend's Past was good. This one's definitely one of the worst ones. Easily.
Of course, every wedding has a story, but the one I'm thinking of isn't about a bride and a groom. It's about a bride, and it starts at the Plaza Hotel 20 years ago.
My wedding will be the happiest day of my life. I think it's beautiful.
It ain't, June. And it ain't the Plaza.
Are you ready to catch this bouquet? I'm feeling kind of strange because of all the things.
Liz, will you marry me?
Yes. We're marrying 1 o'clock, and we're each other's maids of honor.
I had 3 openings at the Plaza. 2 the 6th, 1 the 27th.
Oh, my parents' anniversary's the 6th. It's so meant to be.
Oh, then I'll take the 27th.
You want to discuss this with the grooms?
No.
Isn't
that gorgeous? Oh my God. It's stunning.
Maybe I should keep looking.
Get the dress. Marion.
Your wedding dates have been booked on the same day. Which one of you wants to choose another venue?
What?
One of us will just have to get married on a different day.
One of us will have to be flexible.
Well, one of us can look at different venues.
Yeah, one of us could.
It's crazy. They haven't spoken for like a week. It's like a century in girls' years.
You sent out your save the dates?
Surprised?
Your wedding better watch it.
If I were your wedding,
I'd be sleeping with one eye open.
you're right. Your wedding will be huge, just like your ass at prom. Your wedding can suck it. Just a pre-wedding glow.
Wow. What the hell happened to you?
A little spray tan surprise.
You can't ignore this. That way the terrorists win.
Make sure it's not so ashy. My hair's blue! It's blue!
Wait!
The clothes are gonna have to come off.
Fletch didn't think it was that bad.
Well, honey, he's your fiancé. He probably thought your hair looked nice, too.
Oh my God, this movie. You know, it's not a very good sign when you had a critic at the time this movie came out literally saying that if this film does not end up on my worst of the year list for 2009, then I will quit my job. No joke. BBC 5 Radio's critic there, Mark Commode, was notably harsh on this movie and literally said on his show that if Bride Wars did not end up on his top 10 worst films of the year, he would quit film criticism. And sure enough, at the end of the year, there it was at number 8 on the list behind Terminator Salvation and Couples Retreat. But yeah, it's a movie so bad that it made people want to quit film criticism if it didn't end up on the worst of the year list. And really, from the look of it alone, I mean, just everybody involved in this movie should be doing so much more than this, and just, this is bad. This is a really, really bad movie. You have 2 childhood best friends played by Anne Hathaway and Kate Hudson who have many plans they made many plans together for their respective weddings, turning into sworn enemies in a race to get married first when their wedding planner, Candice Bergen, accidentally puts them on the same day by accident, and now they can't do it because the next time they want to put a date on there, they have to get it 3 years down the road. So apparently in the time it took them to get the 2 dates to start with, which is basically about a week or so, 3 years worth of weddings got set up then. That's the beginning of the many, many problems with this movie, because the logic in this movie makes no sense whatsoever. Nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever from the way these 2 act. Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway are two great actresses. I mean, they have been Academy Award nominated actresses. Anne Hathaway has won an Oscar for Les Miserables. And you can say what you want, but this is the movie that probably killed her chances of winning an Oscar for Rachel getting married. I feel like this movie did for Anne Hathaway what Norbert did for Eddie Murphy, what Movie 43 did to Hugh Jackman. You know, when you make a bad movie it comes out at award season time, somebody's trying to sabotage your chances of getting this. But then again, you shouldn't have taken this movie in the first goddamn place. Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway are such horrible people in this movie. All they care about is getting married. Not just getting married. No. That would make them somewhat normal. But no, they want a wedding at the Plaza Hotel. It's got to be at the Plaza Hotel, and it has to be in the month of June. Why? Because every bride has to have the perfect wedding. And yeah, I get it. Bridezillas is a thing that people like to watch on TV all the time, but I don't watch reality television, and because I'm a sane person, and I don't want to root for somebody that I'm supposed to hate I don't want to root for somebody I hate that I'm supposed to get behind. And yeah, this movie is exactly that. And it doesn't help that these two are psychotic stalkers. Like, the way that they force their boyfriends to pop the question. Like, Kate Hudson, literally, when she finds the wedding ring, runs over to his office and basically just begs him, you know, why won't you marry me? I saw the ring. Get me married. It's just like, it's like a toddler. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, what is the point of all of this? Like at that point, the dude should have just said, you know, we need to take a break because you are freaking me the fuck out right now. But hey, to their credit, the grooms are never seen for a majority of the movie. Like, they are literally out of the movie for a good 80% of the film. And yeah, it's weird because it's just like, the movie's focusing on the brides. The grooms barely show up in the goddamn movie. And even then, you never believe the relationships between them and the grooms they're about to marry. They feel like they want to get married just for the sake of getting married. And again, it doesn't help that these two are acting like psychotic stalkers who really just want to bang themselves at this point. Because I swear to God, there's literally points in the movie where you feel like this is going to turn into a lesbian romance between Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway, which really could have made the movie a whole lot better. But then you look at the rating and realize, oh wait, this was rated PG. Why is it rated PG? Because the Motion Picture Association of America didn't screen this fucking movie. That's the reason why I think this movie got a PG rating, because there is nothing in this movie that is different than the PG-13 romantic comedies, which are much better and much more enjoyable than this piece of garbage right here. This is an abortion of a movie. This is my second worst movie I saw in 2009, behind another bad comedy that we'll get to at the end of the year. But seriously, fuck Anne Hathaway and Kate Hudson in this movie. Fuck all these characters in this movie. You took great actors and wasted them on this pile of shit. You took a great director in Gary Winnick, who did 13 Going on 30, and you forced him to make this movie. And it's just like, and Charlotte's Web too. Like, this is a good director. What the hell happened here? Like, you don't care about anybody in this movie, and you especially don't care about the women in this movie because they're acting like spoiled crybabies because of a fucking wedding date. You don't feel sorry for them. You just want to punch the shit out of them for acting like idiots. And I know you shouldn't punch women. I don't want anybody to get the idea that you should do that by any means necessary. Do not punch a woman. I mean, that's basic common knowledge there, but I'm sorry. This movie made me want to do that, and I should not have to feel like that, but yeah, you shouldn't feel that way at all, but that's how you feel after watching this movie. There's nothing clever about it or cute. It's so mean-spirited and painful to watch. This movie was an abortion to sit through. In a year where I had so many bad comedies in 2009, so many bad movies this year that made my list in here. I mean, we haven't got to one of the other movies I've ever walked out on. We haven't gotten to Year One yet. Old Dogs, like All About Steve. This was a bad year for comedies, even though this year had some good comedies, which we'll get to. But yeah, this was just a disaster. It's so bad I'm burping at the thought of me thinking about this movie again. I just had pizza for dinner before this. That's why that's good pizza, by the way. Shelley Pie Pizza. If you ever come out to Monroeville, Pennsylvania, or Turtle Creek, definitely go there, or Vincent's too, because it's basically the same pizza. I personally like Vincent's better, but Shelley's is pretty good. But You don't want to hear me talk about food. You want to hear me talk about this garbage movie. I'd rather talk about pizza than talk more about this movie. But really, there's not much more I can say about it. As I said, it's so mean-spirited. It's so painful to watch. It's an abortion. Like, this is an unbelievable mess of a movie. Like, I could not believe that somebody greenlit this and thought that this was A-okay, because, my God, what a disaster. What a disaster.
Nishimura Media Group entering the U.S. sports market is a huge deal. Banzai!
Hey, mister, a little help?
Sure thing, guys!
Whoa!
Oh, why did you do that? Sorry, my bad.
You're a monster! How are you?
Well, hello. I didn't know they could afford to hire supermodels here.
Dan? Wow!
Vicky? You haven't seen that woman in 7 years.
I really don't know where to start, Dan.
Daddy!
I have kids.
Twins.
I'm gonna be an old dad. You're gonna be Uncle Charlie.
We can do this. We?
You guys better pack.
What do we have to pack for?
Camping.
Good.
You remind me of that old dude who stole my girlfriend.
What are you saying?
My beef is not with you, old woman.
Thank you.
You ladies ready to play a little ultimate frisbee?
I think so, Mr. Testosterone.
How'd that feel, Gilmore girl?
Oh.
One of my little magic pills.
Watch out for sudden loss of depth perception.
Can't remember where they go.
Catch you later. Mr. Nishimura. It's an honor.
Nice to meet you.
My kids are in there. Sorry, the zoo closes at 3.
We are in the zoo.
We're in the gorilla enclosure.
Don't look at him in the eyes. Just look away.
Penguins! Oh. Charlie!
I'm all out of love, so lost without you.
Yeah. It's that bad, people. If you've been keeping up with my top 30 worst movies of all time, you know I got this at number 20 on my list of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I stick by that. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. You know a movie is bad when they can't even decide who to release it under, because this was originally a Touchstone movie. But then Disney decided to take it over because why the fuck not? No, seriously, why the fuck not? It's kind of like the opposite of Gone Fishing, when, you know, all the marketing had it under Disney, and then Touchstone all of a sudden took over at the last minute, even though they don't change the studio credits on the DVD for it. But trust me, Gone Fishing is Citizen Kane compared to this garbage here. So let me just kind of sum this up here, because I've gone into greater detail about how much I hate this film. John Travolta and Robin Williams star as best friends and business partners for 30 years, and their Manhattan public relations firm is on the verge of a huge business deal with a Japanese company. With 2 weeks to sew up the contract, Dan gets a surprise. A woman he married on a drunken impulse nearly 9 years before, played by the late Kelly Preston, who was, of course, married to John Travolta. She shows up telling him that he's the father of her twins, now 7, and she'll be in jail for 14 days for political protest. So let's throw in another bad Robin Williams comedy while we're at it with Father's Day. But Dan volunteers to keep the tykes, although he's uptight and clueless. So is Charlie, because there's literally a scene in the movie where they're baby-proofing the entire apartment. For a 7-year-old. 2 7-year-olds. With Charlie's help, is there any way they can be dad and uncle, meet the kids' expectations, still land the account, and will you even give a shit about this movie when you're done with it? I mean, this movie is just... wow, it is one of the most detestable things I have ever seen in my entire life. You want to know what this movie really was? This was nothing but watching talented actors screaming and acting stupid and just being ridiculously dumb for 90 minutes. That's all this movie was. You see it in the trailer there, the stupid jokes, I mean, some really offensive jokes when you really think about it with the Japanese people in here, but just nothing happens in this movie. Nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever. Like, supposedly this was a film that was released under the Disney regime before the new regime took over, but yeah, use that as an excuse. Like, this is the type of movie that I would say to anybody out there who's bad-mouthing the live-action remakes and saying it's the biggest Disney disaster in history. No. This shit right here is the biggest Disney disaster in history. This movie is ungodly awful. This is one of the most unfunny, the most obnoxious, the most annoying, the most insufferable movies I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. It's that bad of a movie. This is a film that had such a ripple effect because they were supposed to do a Wild Hogs 2 after this, and they never did it because this movie flopped. Not only that, they had One in Rome come out a couple months later, which was also terrible and did poorly at the box office. And then later on that year, they had You Again, which was also another film that flopped at the box office. So basically, Wild Hogs 2 and pretty much any comedy they had. This movie basically kind of led to the beginning of the downfall of Touchstone Pictures, because they were gone within like less than 6 years after this movie came out. I mean, that's how bad this movie is. The ripple effect this thing caused. I mean, the live-action remakes from Disney you could say that those are the biggest Disney disaster of all time. I would go as far as to say that the live-action Disney films between 97 and 2000 were much, much worse than those live-action remakes. But regardless, no matter what anybody tells you, this is the biggest disaster in Disney history. This movie was an abomination. It was unbelievably awful. It was not funny. It wasted so many good talents. I've gone into greater detail about this. You can go check out the video. I'll leave a link to it in the corner. It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible, terrible movie. Avoid old dogs like the plague. This may be the worst movie I saw in 2009. I could be wrong on that, because I don't know if I have anything up before that, but I think I did have this as the worst movie of 2009. This is the pinnacle of bad comedies released in 2009. And there were a lot of bad comedies, but this one was the bottom of the barrel. So
There's the pool. See ya.
The Pearsons were on the ultimate family vacation.
Well, surprise, surprise, princess.
What are you doing here?
Ricky!
Whoa, what's up with the car?
Lame.
But there's one little problem. Someone else checked in first. Oh, hello, humans.
Please tell me you see that too.
We come in pieces. Attack the humans!
On July 31st, it's the aliens.
What the?
Where do they come from?
Versus the Pearsons.
An entire fleet of those guys are about to invade.
Got it. Don't got it.
This guy doesn't fit in with the others.
Everyone, gear up.
In the main event
Cover me.
With the race?
of the summer.
Bring it, puny human.
Those things they shot at us, they're mind control plugs.
We hereby claim your planet as our own.
From 20th Century Fox and Regency Enterprises.
I don't need this controller.
Game on.
Game over.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the point where I walked out of the theater. Just like how the cat got killed in the spirit in one of the stupidest ways possible, that was the moment where I said, I can't take it anymore. I gotta get the hell on out of here. Aliens in the Attic. As I said before, I kind of touched on this already, so I'll be brief on this one. It's about the Pearsons, a family whose busy lifestyles leads their dad, played by Kevin Nealon, to say that a family vacation is needed. So the dad, the younger sister Hannah, teenage son Tom, and older sister Bethany, played by Ashley Tisdale, along with her boyfriend Ricky, all go to their vacation home. But shortly after the Pearsons arrive at their sprawling summer home, however, things start to get strange as dark clouds start to swirl overhead. 4 glowing objects blast through the skies on a collision course with the Pearsons' roof, and so the alien invasion and the bullshittery begins. And what follows is an annoying-ass alien played by Josh Peck. You know, he was good in the Ice Age movies, and he was tolerable, but here, Oh, he gets on your nerves so goddamn fast. And that scene that I walked out, made me walk out of the movie. The Mortal Kombat fight scene with a mind-controlling Ray's mom from Everybody Else Raymond, Doris Roberts. And it's some of the worst stunt work I have ever seen in my life. This is about as bad of a movie as you can get. It made me so furious to walk out of this movie because I could not believe that the studio thought you were that stupid to go and see this film. Like, that's how bad this movie is. It's a movie that's so terrible. It panders to kids on the worst possible levels, and it's one of the worst things ever. Like, say what you will about the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, but those movies were at least trying to do something. At least the first couple movies were. This is just noise, annoyances, lame jokes, just comedy that just didn't work at all, and nothing clever came out of it. Nothing smart came out of it. Nothing. It's like, this is a movie that literally is insulting the intelligence of of the audiences that they're trying to appeal to. And nobody went to go see the film, which thank God for that, because I couldn't imagine this continuing on into a series, even as a direct-to-DVD series. Can you imagine how much lazier the budget on this would have gotten if they made direct-to-DVD sequels of this? Just, yeah, not much more to say about that one. If you want to hear what I had to say about this movie in full, there's the link to the Reviewing Network that talks about the fifth worst movie of all time that I've seen, and that's Aliens in the Attic. So